Now we know that acid plus base gives us salt plus water. Salts again have pH. We have neutral salts whose pH is 7, basic salt whose pH is greater than 7, and acidic salts whose pH is less than 7. Acidic means pH less than 7. You know, 0 to 7 range acidic, 7 to 14 range basic. How does a salt become acidic or basic? How do we know? If a salt is made up of a strong base and a strong acid, it is a neutral salt. If it is made up of a strong base and a weak acid, strong base means pH more than 7, so pH becomes more than 7. If it is made up of a weak base and a strong acid, acidic salt, pH less than 7. Let us see few examples and understand how. NaCl, first example. If NaCl is being produced here, what are the two possible acids that you will use, acid and a base? Na will come from NaOH, agreed? Yes. Cl will come from HCl. So this will give you NaCl and water. So NaCl came from a base called NaOH, strong base. So the Cl over here came from HCl, which is a strong acid. Therefore, I can say NaCl is made from a strong base and a strong acid, and its pH is 7. KNO3. From where will KNO3 come? K will come from KOH. NO3 will come from which acid? Nitric acid. HNO3. Agreed? Strong base, strong acid. Salt is neutral. Basic salt. Na2CO3, just like that. Na2CO3. Na comes from NaOH. CO3 will come from which acid do we know? C or weak acids or strong acids, and C. Is there any acid that we know? Carbonic acid, H2CO3. So this is a strong base, weak acid. What kind of salt will it form? Basic salt, pH greater than 7. CH3COONA. CH3COO will come from CH3COOH, which is acetic acid, weak acid. Na will come from NaOH, strong base. Weak acid, strong base, salt is basic. Next, acidic salts. They are made of weak bases and strong acids. Let us see. NH4Cl, NH4OH, ammonium hydroxide, weak base. Cl, HCl, strong acid, weak base, strong acid, acidic salt. FeCl3, FeOH thrice, weak base. Cl will come from HCl, strong acid. The resulting salt is acidic. Page 28, question 1. You have two solutions A and B. They have given you two solutions A and B. The pH of solution A is 6. This one's pH is 6. And pH of solution B is 8. Which solution has more hydrogen ion concentration? Which of this is acidic and which of this is basic? pH 7, 0, 14. If the pH keeps dropping, if the pH value, lesser the pH value, more the hydrogen ion concentration. So who has lesser pH value? A. So this one will have more hydrogen ion concentration. Who is acidic? Less than 7 is acidic, more than 7 is basic. So A is acidic and B is basic. Question 2. What effect does the concentration of H plus ions have on the nature of the solution? That means, if the concentration is high, is it acidic or basic? If it's less, is it acidic or basic? So if H plus ion concentration increases, that means the acidic nature of the solution also increases, or acidicity of the solution or acidic nature of the solution increases. If H plus ion concentration decreases, then you can say basicity increases, or you can say if basicity increases, what does it mean? Acidic nature is decreasing, right? Lesser the H plus ion concentrations, lesser the acidic nature. More the H plus ion concentrations, more the acidic nature. Lesser acidic nature means more basic nature. Agreed? Yes. Next question. Do basic solutions also have H plus aqueous ions? We learnt yes, they do. If yes, then why are they basic? Basic solutions have H plus ion. They have H plus ion as well as OH minus. Every solution has both H plus ions as well as OH minus ions. But they are basic because the amount of the concentration of the OH minus ion is more than the concentration of H plus ions, which is why they are basic. Question 4. Under what soil condition do you think a farmer would treat the soil of his fields with quicklime or slaked lime or chalk? Quicklime, calcium oxide, slaked lime, calcium hydroxide, chalk, calcium carbonate. All of these are basic in nature. When will you add a base to something? When you add something only when you want to neutralize a substance. If I am adding base to the soil, that means my soil is acidic. So when your pH value is less than 5.5 or it is acidic, the farmer will add any of these compounds to neutralize the soil. Let's just recap a small part of what we know about salts. Salts are made using acids and bases. When acids and bases react, we get salt and water. Salts have different pH values. pH equals 7, that's a neutral salt. pH greater than 7, that's a basic salt. pH less than 7, that is an acidic salt. How do we get a neutral salt? If a strong base reacts with a strong acid, you get a neutral salt. If a strong base reacts with a weak acid, you get a basic salt. If a strong acid reacts with a weak base, then you get a acidic salt. So now we will be studying a few salts in our chapters. So we will be studying a few salts in detail. The first salt that we will be studying today is common salt. What is this common salt? You know the salt that you use at home? That itself is your common salt. Also chemically known as sodium chloride. NaCl is the salt that we use in our kitchens. Salt is such an important substance in our food items. Every day we use it. Not only in food, we use salts in many other applications. For example, salt is also used as a preservative to preserve food items for a longer time. It is used in pickles as one of the reasons as preservative, not only for the taste. So now about salt, where is it found? Common salt especially, the sea areas, the sea has many salts dissolved in it. That's why if you by mistake tasted seawater, it will be salty. Why? Because there's a lot of salt dissolved in it. So in all these sea rock areas where there's you find salt beds. So they take the water from there, they evaporate it, get salt, refine it. Also salt was one of the most crucial factors in our Dandi March that Mahatma Gandhi led. So now going more in detail about sodium chloride. How is sodium chloride prepared? Sodium, which base or acid do you remember with it? Sodium hydroxide. Chlorine, which acid or base do you remember with it? Hydrochloric acid, yes. So if I take sodium hydroxide and I make it react with hydrochloric acid, what happens? OH and H will become water and Na and Cl will give me NaCl. Strong base, strong acid. What will be the pH of my salt? It will be 7. Why? Neutral salt. A strong base and a strong acid react to give you a neutral salt. So the pH value is 7 and the salt is neutral. This is also known as rock salt. Sodium chloride is also referred to as rock salt. Few of the applications of sodium chloride, it is used in foods and preservatives that we already know. Now we will see how sodium chloride is used in the manufacturing of caustic soda, baking soda, washing soda and bleaching powder. These are all 4 items that we use in our day-to-day life in our houses. We will see how sodium chloride is used to get these 4 compounds. So let's see the next salt. Sodium hydroxide. The common name of sodium hydroxide is caustic soda. As we saw in the previous salt, it is derived from sodium chloride itself. So now we have sodium chloride over here. Take the aqueous solution of sodium chloride. Pass electricity through it. So what is happening? Electrolysis. Agreed? So upon passing electricity through it, you will see that sodium hydroxide is formed along with the liberation of Cl2 and H2 gas. So what happens? NaCl will split Na plus Cl minus, H2O will split as H plus H plus H plus, OH minus OH minus OH minus. The Cl's will combine to give chlorine gas, the H's will combine to give hydrogen gas, OH and Na will combine to give sodium hydroxide. Now when H and Cl, what is happening with this H and Cl? See, I have electrodes here. This is positive and negative. I hope you guys remember electrolysis, how we did it in the first chapter. You take a battery, connect to electrodes and pass current. So if I am connecting the positive of the battery here, this is positive and that is negative. So when there is NaCl here along with H2O, the Na will become Na plus, Cl will become Cl minus, H will become H plus and O will become OH minus. Agreed? When Na plus and OH minus will combine, this Cl minus will go towards whom? It is negative sign. It will get attracted to the positive electrode. The positive electrode is nothing but the anode. So all the Cl minus will come here. All the H plus will go here. So Cl minus will give away the negative charge to positive, and here what happens? Chlorine gas is formed. Where does it form? At the anode. H plus will take a negative charge from this and it will become H2. So this will become H2 gas. So I hope you understood how this reaction is played. You don't have to write so much in detail as to how it splits. Very simple. You have to just say sodium chloride solution on electrolysis gives us sodium hydroxide along with the liberation of chlorine gas and hydrogen gas. This sodium chloride solution, the aqueous solution of sodium chloride, this is also referred to as brine solution. So I can rephrase my statement as upon electrolysis of brine, so brine solution on electrolysis gives us sodium hydroxide along with the liberation of chlorine gas and hydrogen gas. The above reaction is also called chloralkali process. Why? Chlor referring to chlorine, alkali referring to the base. See, sodium hydroxide is a base and it can be dissolved in water. Bases that dissolve in water are referred to as alkalis. So chloralkali process. Chlorine gas is liberated at anode. Hydrogen gas is liberated at cathode. I have explained the statements in detail in the notes, so please refer the notes while also studying it. So now what did we do? We took NaCl, brine solution, we took NaCl aqueous state, we took a solution of NaCl, we passed electricity through it, we got NaOH, that was caustic soda, along with the liberation of hydrogen gas and chlorine gas. Chlorine gas was liberated at the anode, hydrogen gas was liberated at the cathode. This much we already know. What are the uses of these products? NaOH, the caustic soda, is used in degreasing metals, soaps and detergents. Caustic soda is used in detergents. You can see in some of the Dhobi Ghats, even till today, they don't use a direct soap. They use caustic soda to wash their clothes. paper making, artificial fibers. Chlorine gas, we all know it's used in swimming pools, which is why we say chlorinated water. Water treatment, PVC, disinfectants, pesticides. Hydrogen gas, it's used in fuels. Margarine, what is margarine? In baking we use one kind of butter that it's a fatty substance, that's margarine. Ammonia for fertilizers, hydrogen gas is used in the production of ammonia. Ammonia is NH3. Hydrogen and chlorine together gives you hydrochloric acid that's used to clean steel, prepare ammonium chloride, medicines, cosmetics, etc. Chlorine and sodium hydroxide together give you bleach. This is used in household bleaches, bleaching fabric. How is sodium hydroxide chlorine giving us bleach? We will now understand while studying bleaching powder. Next compound, calcium oxychloride, also referred to as bleaching powder. The common name of calcium oxychloride is bleaching powder. The chemical name is referred to as calcium oxychloride. You have to be careful, they can ask you a direct question. What is the common name of calcium oxychloride? Bleaching powder. Or what is the chemical name of bleaching powder? Calcium oxychloride. So you need to know both the names, you need to know the formula too. So like we saw in the previous use, we got the bleach from NaOH and Cl2. So there is no Na here, but why do we need it? We need that to produce Cl2 gas. How? Let us understand. We first took NaCl. See, all the products we are learning are all from NaCl. We start with NaCl. From NaCl aqueous state, what did we do? We passed electricity. So upon electrolysis, the brine solution will give us sodium hydroxide along with the liberation of H2 and Cl2. In the previous reaction, I have not balanced this. So please go back and balance it. If you have to balance this, how will we do so? Na is balanced, Cl is 2. So I have to make this 2. Na became 2, so this will also become 2. Oxygens, so there are 2 oxygens here, so 2. Hydrogen is 4, so 2. This is the, no, hydrogen is already balanced. Why? There are 2 H here and plus 2, 4. So this is the balanced reaction. I repeat, I have not balanced it while doing it under preparation of caustic soda. So please go back and balance it there. Okay, so now what we are going to do is, we have got chlorine gas. I want to prepare CaOCl2. So now I will pass chlorine gas on dry slaked lime. What is slaked lime? Calcium hydroxide is slaked lime. Calcium oxide, quicklime. Calcium carbonate, limestone. So if I pass chlorine gas on this, I get calcium oxychloride along with water. Check if it's balanced. Cl2, Cl2 balanced, Ca, Ca balanced, O is 2, 1 plus 1, 2, hydrogen is 2, hydrogen is also 2. So this is the preparation of bleaching powder. How will we write this? First step, on electrolysis of brine solution, sodium hydroxide is prepared along with the liberation of chlorine gas. This chlorine gas is passed on dry slaked lime to give us bleaching powder. So let us see a few uses of bleaching powder. Bleaching powder is used in the cotton and textile industry. Many times when the white clothes become a little old or there's a stain on the white clothes, what do? We give it to the dry cleaner and tell him to bleach it. So bleaching powder is used in that. Next, bleaching powder is used as an oxidizing agent in chemical industries. Calcium oxychloride, there is only one oxygen here. Under some circumstances, we make this oxygen, they do a reaction, they conduct an experiment such that the oxygen is liberated over here and it's a good oxidizing agent. It is also used as a disinfectant in drinking water to make it free of germs. Next, salt, sodium hydrogen carbonate, also known as baking soda. We all use baking soda at home in our idli dosa batter. Yes. So now this baking soda or sodium hydrogen carbonate, common name, chemical name. How do we prepare this? Aqueous solution of sodium chloride, also referred to as brine solution. If you pass carbon dioxide gas and ammonia gas in brine solution or aqueous sodium chloride solution, then we get ammonium chloride and sodium hydrogen carbonate. Very simple reaction. Sodium hydrogen carbonate is a mild basic salt, or you can say it is a basic salt. One of the properties is, if you heat up sodium hydrogen carbonate, you will see that you get Na2CO3 plus CO2 plus H2O. Sodium hydrogen carbonate on heating decomposes into sodium carbonate, carbon dioxide gas and water. Balancing this reaction, there is 2 there, so this will become 2, 2Na balanced, 2C balanced, 6 oxygens, 3 plus 2 plus 1, 6 oxygens, 2 hydrogens, 2 hydrogens. So it's a balanced reaction now. Let us see a few uses of baking soda. It is used for faster cooking, which is why sometimes in your food items, even in few canteens and restaurants, you find soda in their food, which is not very good for health, but they use it. Manufacturing of baking powder. What is baking powder? How does sodium hydrogen carbonate help it? Baking powder is a mixture of sodium hydrogen carbonate and a mild acid. So different mild acids, you can use any. So we will just represent it with H plus. H plus refers to an acid, right? So we use a mild acid. A good example of a mild base is tartaric acid. Where do we find tartaric acid? Recapping, tartaric acid is found in tamarind and grapes. How does this reaction work? It is going to be difficult to take tartaric acid formula. So first we will do it with a normal acid and then we will generalize the reaction. See, if I take sodium hydrogen carbonate and make it react with an acid, let's just take for example for now HCl, okay? Sodium hydrogen carbonate reacts with an acid. We have already studied how carbonates and hydrogen carbonates react with acids. If you do not remember, rewind the videos, have a recap and come back. So what happens? It forms a salt along with the liberation of CO2 gas and H2O. This we already know. Now in this particular reaction, we have sodium hydrogen carbonate, but with sodium hydrogen carbonate, we have only tartaric acid, not HCl. So we can't eat HCl in our food. The acid we use in our food there for baking bread, cakes, etc. is tartaric. So the formula stuff, for simplicity's sakes, I will represent it as H plus. The Cl minus we will not write, okay? Instead of Cl minus, some other compound will come. So H plus denotes the acid. This will give NaCl. Cl is coming from here. Cl is coming from here, but this is not there. So here I can't write Cl, but I know that it has to be a sodium salt. So what can I say about it? I will therefore say sodium salt of an acid. See, it's a sodium salt. From where is the Cl coming? It's coming from the acid. So sodium salt of an acid. Now, along with that, you have normal CO2 and H2O. This is the reaction given in your textbooks. It's a little difficult to understand directly, which is why I took this example and went here. You don't have to write this. So we can therefore say, when sodium hydrogen carbonate and an acid is heated up, you get carbon dioxide, water and sodium salt of an acid. This carbon dioxide itself makes your bread porous. Understand? When I make the batter of the bread, I have sodium hydrogen carbonate and acid in it. this tartaric acid. So now it's there. Once you start heating the bread, what happens? The bread bloats up. There is holes in the bread. It becomes spongy. Why? Because once you heat up this combination, you have CO2 gas coming out. Once the CO2 gas comes out, see, the CO2 gas starts coming out. So what happens? There will be holes created. The bread becomes spongy. So this reaction helps. So they can ask you, give the reaction that makes breads and cakes spongy. This is the answer. Since sodium hydrogen carbonate is mild basic, we can say it can be used as an antacid. What is an antacid? It's like a remedy to your acidity. It is also used as soda acid fire extinguishers. Meaning what? This is soda, this is acid. Soda acid fire extinguishers. How? Carbon dioxide does not support burning. Water does not support burning. So if I mix these two and I switch it on, it will extinguish the fire. It will stop the burning. Understood how soda acid fire extinguisher? Now one might ask, you wanted carbon dioxide. Why did I use acid? Why could I just not do this? Take sodium hydrogen carbonate, heat it up. I'll get Na2CO3 plus CO2 plus H2O. So here also I am getting CO2. So here also my bread will become porous. Simply why to do all this? Why should I add acid? Here only I am getting CO2. Acid is particularly added to reduce the bitterness of sodium hydrogen carbonate. Sodium hydrogen carbonate is mildly basic, and in the starting of the chapter we learned that bases are bitter. So you don't want your bread or your cake to be bitter. So to avoid that, how do you bring down the basicity? By adding an acid. So an acid is added to bring down the bitterness caused by sodium hydrogen carbonate. So I hope you understood why we chose this combination, how is the bread spongy, and how this behaves as a soda acid fire extinguisher. Next salt, washing soda or sodium carbonate decahydrate. Formula, sodium carbonate decahydrate. Whenever there are water molecules with the salt, it's called a crystal, and we represent it by putting dot and H2O. Deca meaning 10, so 10 water molecules are there with 1 molecule of sodium carbonate. Sodium carbonate decahydrate, this is a crystal salt. What is this crystal salts? We've already had it in the first chapter, recapping. For example, copper sulfate, hydrated copper sulfate. It's copper sulfate with 5 water molecules. If I heat this up, copper sulfate, hydrated copper sulfate is blue in color. If I heat it up, this 5 water molecules will evaporate. This is no longer blue in color, it's white or colorless. So this hydrated molecules are what give color to the salt crystals. So now, if I have copper sulfate here and I want to get back the blue color, what should I do? Add water. So it gets back the blue color. So when you're adding water to the salt in order to make it a hydrated salt, this is called recrystallization. It is the salt, you're adding back water to make it crystals. So recrystallization. So how is washing soda prepared? Washing soda is prepared by the recrystallization of sodium carbonate. Or recrystallization of sodium carbonate gives washing soda. So now the point is, from where do I get sodium carbonate? We already learnt. How do you get sodium carbonate? First you prepare sodium hydrogen carbonate, NaCl plus water. Pass carbon dioxide gas and ammonia in an aqueous solution of sodium chloride. What do we get? You get NH4Cl along with sodium hydrogen carbonate. What is this sodium hydrogen carbonate called? Baking soda. Now you take the sodium hydrogen carbonate and you heat it. What happens? We already know this reaction to sodium carbonate plus CO2 plus H2O is given out. Balancing this, you get this. These two reactions we already know. Now we have sodium carbonate. To this sodium carbonate, you have to do recrystallization. Add add water. How many water molecules? 10 water molecules. You will get sodium carbonate decahydrate, which is nothing but washing soda. This washing soda is also a basic salt. Let us see a few uses of washing soda. Sodium carbonate of washing soda is used in glass, soap and paper industries. All of us know soap for sure. It is used in the manufacture of sodium compounds such as borax. Sodium carbonate can be used as a cleaning agent for domestic purposes. Washing soda is used for cleaning? Yes. It is used for removing permanent hardness of water. Common question. Which salt is used in removing the permanent hardness of water, or which salt is used to soften water? Answer is washing soda. Next concept is nothing to do with the next salt we are studying. I just explained crystallization in the previous topic, right? When I use recrystallization, we'll study that a little more in detail here. Referred to as crystals, water of crystallization or hydrated salts. What are these? We'll first consider an experiment. Take a test tube and take hydrated copper sulfate here, or copper sulfate crystals. When I say crystals, it means water molecule is there with that salt. So copper sulfate crystals. Copper sulfate crystals are blue in color. I heat it. You will observe there are water droplets forming here. That means water is coming out. This 5H2O will come out. What is left? CuSO4, which is a white or colorless salt. You can say white salt. So the salt here turns white. So what are these crystals? When water is there with it, those salts look like they are crystals. That is what adds color to the salt. So you can say water of crystallization. Water of crystallization is the fixed number of water molecules present in one formula unit of a salt. Meaning, what is the formula unit of copper sulfate? What is one formula unit of copper sulfate? If I want only one formula of copper sulfate, that means I am taking only one molecule of copper sulfate. How many water molecules does it need to become a crystal? It needs 5H2O. So the number of water molecules present with one formula unit of a salt is referred to as water of crystallization. This is known as a hydrated salt. This whole thing hydrated salt. This water of crystallization. This whole salt is also referred to as crystal. Few common examples of crystal salts. Hydrated copper sulfate. It is blue in color, copper blue. You've heard this. So this is referred to as blue vitriol. Hydrated ferrous sulfate, green color. We have seen this in many experiments. Ferrous sulfate, green color. We have seen it in chapter 1 also. Green vitriol. Sodium carbonate decahydrate. We just learnt it. What is it called? Washing soda. Calcium sulfate dihydrate or hydrated calcium sulfate. This is referred to as gypsum. This is the next compound we'll be studying. The next compound, plaster of Paris. We have all seen the use of plaster of Paris in many places, decorations. Today in our walls, the lightings are also cleverly made with plaster of Paris. You put plaster of Paris and in between they put the light over there, right? So this plaster of Paris is very commonly used in our environment. What is this formula? What is the chemical name? Calcium sulfate hemihydrate. Hemi means half. Calcium sulfate hemihydrate. How do we prepare this? Take calcium sulfate dihydrate and heat it at 373 Kelvin. Important. This temperature is important. If you take calcium sulfate dihydrate and heat it at 373 Kelvin, it loses 1.5 water molecule and forms calcium sulfate hemihydrate. You can say gypsum on heating at 373 Kelvin forms POP with loss of water. What is this half H2O? Is half H2O possible? Recapping to crystallization, you need to understand, when I say copper sulfate, hydrated copper sulfate, these 5 water molecules are not bonded with the copper sulfate, they are just present in the molecule. It is easy to heat, remove and add back. This water molecule is just present with this copper sulfate. So when I say this half water molecule, how can you get half water molecule? This is 1 H2O. Can I break it and take it? No, you cannot. You cannot break an atom. You can't break. See, H and H, okay, I will break. How to break oxygen? Can you break a single oxygen atom into 2? No. So what does this half H2O mean? This half H2O means there is calcium sulfate here and there is one more calcium sulfate here. They both are sharing one water molecule. There's calcium sulfate here, there's calcium sulfate here. They both are sharing a single water molecule. That means one calcium sulfate is getting how much? A proportion of half water molecule. Does it exist separately as half? No. In reality, they exist as 2 calcium sulfates sharing one water molecule. In the reaction, we just represent it like this. So I hope you understood what does that half H2O mean. This plaster of Paris is a white powder. You all have seen, if you all have seen people making articles, showpieces, after they add water, you'll see it becomes a hard mass. You cannot make it back to powder. You can, but very difficult. So how does that happen? When you take calcium sulfate, hemihydrate, the POP, and you add water molecule to it, it turns back to gypsum, which is a very, very hard mass. Gypsum is a very, very hard mass. How many water molecules does it need? 1.5. So these two are reactions reverses of each other. This is ulta of this. This gypsum is a hard mass and it is used, gypsum is used in the manufacturing of cement. Let us see a few uses of POP. It is used for plastering fractured bones. When you are fractured and they put a cast over here, what do? They put first a paste kind of thing and it becomes hard, right? They don't put the hard substance first only. So how? Because the POP is mixed with water and becomes a hard mass on your hand and your hand is held stiff. Making toys, decorative items, I just told you, when POP is mixed with water it becomes hard. So you can mold it, make like clay, make whatever shape you want and you get your decorative item. Leave it for some time, it dries up, it becomes hard. It is used for casts for statues, toys, surgical instruments. What are these casts? These surgical instruments and all. Now you've seen in some dentists, there will be the model of your teeth. It will be all made with POP. How do they get that exact shape of your teeth? How do they put the cavity over there, the shape, the hole over there? Because POP is first powder and it's moldable, they make it. Then they leave it to dry. It will become a hard mass. So it's used to casts. What are these casts? If you take anything like a mold, you can put anything inside and you'll get a shape, right? Like if I take a shape like this and I pour some substance here, this behaves as a cast. I can remove it back, it will be in this shape only, right? So those are casts or molds. This finally brings us to the end of the chapter, before which let's just have a small recap. This finally brings us to the end of the chapter. Please go through the notes in detail if you want word to word of what I have said. Also take up the practice test to get a better grip on the subject. This is all that's required to cover up your textbook. All the very best. Thank you.